Why, hello. Hello and welcome to another weekly edition of Happy Hour with the Lincoln. Let me give the official cheers to all my good friends out there, my trading friends, those out there clicking the mouse for a living, trying to get your share of the pie. Now, if you're struggling with this trading thing and you're confused, you're having a really hard time with it, it's just messing you all up upstairs here. You just can't get going. You have a little success and then it's taken away from you. You're going back and forth. And you want to eliminate the drama from your trading business. Do me a favor, click on this link. You can start trading with us live right away. Every day the market's open, you can trade with us live. We'll do our very best to try to make a trader out of you. Now, this is where week by week I'll do my best to answer all of your stock market related questions. Or maybe I'll just rant about something, or just general babble about stock stuff, personal life experiences, lessons I've learned in 2 decades as a trader in the attempts to help you become successful. Also, don't forget that my DVD Rock Solid is out and it is free, my gift to the trading community, and it's right up there. So we're going to talk about something that we left off with last week because I got a lot of questions, a follow-up question. It seems as if I had failed to touch upon a specific topic, and that topic was about blowing up account. Now, you hear a lot of people do this, and you've heard my story before. I think most of you have. If you haven't, just go back to the last week's video. I kind of talked about what it took to be a trader, how long it takes to be successful. I shared some of my stories, and in those stories, I said I blew up 2 accounts. And many of you reached out to me and you asked me, what was like the number one reason for blowing up account? Like, how do you actually blow up an account? What should you be looking for not to grenade your account? And I'm going to answer that for you today. And I want to first start out by saying there should be absolutely no reason whatsoever. It truly is unacceptable. I mean that. Even though I did it 2 times, it's going to hurt me to say it. It is absolutely unacceptable to blow up an account. It's just uncalled for. Because there really are 2 things, 2 main factors. I mean, there's a lot of little tiny stuff in there, but there's 2 main factors that cause a trader to blow up. Number 1 that stands out above anything is just flat out ignorance. And we're going to talk about that. I mean, it's just ignorance. And the second part is being over leveraged. And sometimes over leveraged and ignorance go hand in hand. Now, if you and the reason I want to talk about this is because if you remember last week, the part of the trader timeline that I discussed, and one of the ways that you becoming successful at trading is survival. Like when you're first starting out, the very beginning part of a trader's career shouldn't be focused on making money. It would be nice if you did, but if you really want to stay around for the long haul, the first 6 months, year, whatever, you really are still in this learning phase. You're going to be in learning phase actually your whole entire life with this trading, but you're really going to be absorbing. You're going to be testing out different strategies. And I said you needed to survive. And I used things like education and working hard and studying. But I guess one of the things I failed to mention was, really to survive, you have to have an account. Like if you don't have any money, it doesn't matter. You stand absolutely no chance. So you do have to have an account. So when you're starting out with your trading, part of being in survival mode is trading small, being patient, learning rules, building a structure for yourself so you don't blow up your money and run out of it. Then you'll figure out how to trade and you're like, oh, I don't have any money now, so it does me no good. So let's talk about these 2 things, being over leveraged and ignorance, okay? It is really hard. You're allowed to make mistakes as a trader. You can make a lot of mistakes as a trader, and I've done those. You can do a lot of stupid things as a trader, and you can do stupid things over and over again as a trader and still not blow up because you have the ultimate power when it comes to it. That's why I said there's absolutely no reason, because risk management really as a trader is your number 1 job, because part of that survival scenario is making sure that your account is intact and you still have funds to trade on. So there's no reason that you should over risk yourself. And this is one thing I think sometimes traders overlook, because yes, we operate in a business where anything can happen. Yes, we get caught out sometimes with bad trades. Yes, we make mistakes, but truth be told, you control the amount of risk that you take as a trader. They're stop losses. Now, whether you lose all the time, you still can control how much of that money you lose. And you can do that with stop losses, and you can do that with position sizes. So when I say ignorance, that's what I mean. You ultimately, in 99% of all cases, have 100% complete control over how much risk that you want to take on a trade. Now, this moves into the question about certain overnight trading that some of you had asked, does overnight trading cause this? Did you take a position and then you go up the next day and the company's bankrupt? That very, very rarely happens. Yes, it possibly could, but that goes back to the part of being over leveraged. If you have too much invested in one company, all your eggs in one basket, so to speak, then you're exposing yourself to a tremendous amount of risk. But even still, in those scenarios, it would almost be impossible for you to blow up. I want to go back and I want to talk about that number one reason, which is ignorance. And this is something I have talked about in a couple of whiteboard lessons. And when you look at a very big loss, let's start out this way. Take the biggest loss you've suffered over the last year. You know the ticker, and you know how it was, okay? Was there not a point where you knew real soon, real early in the game, that this trade was not going to work, or it was slim to none that it was going to work for you? Because all you did was battle. It was one of those trades that never worked from the beginning. It kicked your ass the whole time. You were always behind the 8 ball, and you just never got on par with that stock. It just beat you from day one till you finally got rid of it. So I've often said this before, that before a major loss happens, there's this moment that clicks in your head that says, I probably should get rid of this. And you don't. And then that thing turns out to be a much worse loss. Now, this is what goes back to risk management, because when you first started out with the trade, you had a specific mental, whether you used a physical stop or a mental stop. You had some point in your head where you said, I'll leave the trade if. And then when that if happened, you didn't do it. Now, some of the email responses that you guys sent me this week, I responded back to you, and I'll give you a typical scenario of ignorance. And again, this is why I'm here, sharing with you 20 years of experience, even if it makes me look like a total buffoon. But this is how I was thinking, and I'm trying to prevent you from thinking like this. And I talked about Sears Holdings. When I blew up my account, there were 2 stocks that did that. One was Wireless Facilities, went under the ticker of WIFI, W-I-F-I, and I think somebody else uses that now. My heart hurts too bad to look it up. I can't. I'm sorry. The other was Sears Holdings. Now, both of them work the exact same way. And I'll just use Sears Holdings as an example. Like, I originally bought that stock at like $150. Now, this is way back in 2000, 2001-ish, whatever. And I get it like at 154. And the stock starts to make a slide as the market starts to correct at the very beginning of 01. And it goes down to like $142 or something like that. So I'm 10 in the hole on this thing. Now, at that point, I had an okay sized position, but it wasn't a bulk position in my account. It was just a harmless bad trade. Does that make sense? A harmless bad trade. It was just like, it stung at that point, but I still had money left over if I would have cut it. But I decided in the low 140s, I'm going to add to this position again. Well, it doesn't even bounce. Like, it just rolls right on down to like 136s, 137s or something. And I don't know what to do with it. Of course, I know what to do with it. I just don't want to tell myself what I should do with it, because I still have some sort of hope that it's going to work, And then it goes, and I add it, and then it goes down. And I did this damn near every $10 increment in the 120s, the 110s, the 100s, the 98s, the 88s. I keep adding all the way down. I think I eventually ditched this thing just slightly under $50. Wireless Facilities was the same. I was in the younger 100s on that, end up selling that down into the 20s. So this is what I'm trying to say when you ask about blowing up an account. It wasn't the just forget. I can't blame Wireless Facilities and Sears Holdings. Let's start out with that. Try to explain it that way. It's not the trade. When I said idea, execution, and management, I had a good idea to buy these stocks. I thought they were going to break out higher. In fact, on Wireless Facilities, I was up a substantial amount on that stock, somewhere in the neighborhood of about $30,000. And I just thought it was never going to stop, you know. So I not only gave it the 30,000 I earned back, I gave like 3 or 4 more times more than that on the way back down. So it was like the double whammy. I was never up on Sears Holdings. But when I say ignorance, that's what I mean. It wasn't a bad trade idea. And I had relatively good prices. Like I said, I was up $30,000 at one point on Wi-Fi. I mean, that's a good trade, right? I mean, that's a good trade. But it was the management part. It was the ignorance part that I'm talking to you guys about right now. That's how you blow your account up. Because if I would have cut Sears, if I would have cut Sears Holding at 130, I would have been fine. If I would have just took scratch on Wi-Fi, I would have been fine. But I kept going, right? Now I know it's hard to say from the outside, and this is one of the things that we have to watch out for ourselves. It's one thing on the outside to look back. Hindsight's 2020, right? I can look back and go, "You were stupid." Yes, I was stupid. You know, you should have cut it. Yes, I should have cut it. But you know how it is in the moment. You get wrapped up in the moment. You get wrapped up in hope. You get wrapped up in belief. Your mind takes over and you start becoming freaking delusional. This is why we say you can't be an emotional trader, because emotions create delusion. And that's all I was. I was just delusional. Now, you guys might find yourself in the same situation. I'll give you an example of how mind plays tricks on you and how the market can make you delusional. How many times have you taken a trade and then you don't know why it didn't work out? You just don't know. So after the market's closed, you go back, you review your charts, you go back and look through all your stuff. And then you can't figure out why you took the damn trade in the first place. Like, what was that? You can't even come up with the reason why you got in it. That's because you don't even remember. Like, you were so out of tune with what was happening, you just forgot. You just lost it. That's what I'm talking about, delusional. So I guess in theory, you could also add to this if you're underfunded. Like, if, you know, I'm really not talking about that part. Like, if you're if you only have a $2,000 trading account, that's hard. You're probably going to blow up with one bad trade, you know, I mean, but it's only $2,000. If you blow up, you'll probably come back from that. I'm talking about, you know, larger accounts, 50, 70,000 or something like that. And then you blow up. So to answer this question, it's mainly, it comes from being ignorant, because you could buy just about damn near anything here. And, you know, even a penny stock, as long as you're not over leveraging a penny stock, you could probably buy it at $6, $7 and it can go to zero and be halted the next day and go bankrupt. And you'll still have some money left over. That's why I said you can make a lot of stupid errors and a lot of dumb mistakes. But if you have modest position size according to your risk, and you got your chips spread across the table, it's really difficult to blow up. So the biggest reason why traders blow up, ignorance. I was guilty of that. Just being dumb, because I knew I should have got out of those trades. I knew I was out of my element, but I didn't do it. And I just sat there like a deer in headlights, frozen, watching my account balance every day, you know, until finally I closed out what was left in the account so I could buy groceries. That was my tipping point. So anyway, guys, think about that. There should be no reason you blow up an account. Regardless of what your account size is, you start small. You trade small. You use risk. It's better, like we say sometimes in the trade room, it's better to be faked out, shaken out, than taken out, right? It's better to be shaken out than taken out. You just cannot put yourself in a situation where a stock can take you out. You just cannot allow that to happen, because you could have a 10-year great trading career, and if you allow yourself to be over leveraged and ignorant, it will take just one trade. You're done. You are done. Can't do that. So anyway, guys, I want to thank you for watching this happy hour. Don't be ignorant. Use risk management. Trade within your reason. Stay alive. Until the next happy hour, cheers.